Palestine Solidarity Campaign has issues with this bill. And thank her for the... Thank you.
Samai Pal. Hi everyone, and it's wonderful to be here today, and thank you for the invitation. And I'm now getting dripped on, so... Okay, so I'm Cathy Brooks, and I'm the chair of Montgomeryshire Palestine Solidarity Campaign. And I'm here today to speak about one specific aspect of the police crime, sentencing and courts bill. And it will come of no surprise is that it concerns the attack on our right to take to the streets and protest, to speak out about the issues that are of concern to us, to give voice to those who rely on us to speak about the injustices they face. In the 12 months since we formed Montgomeryshire PSC, we've held rallies in Plaid Newtown, Welshpool and Llanidloes. We've spoken about the Israeli bombing of Gaza in May last year, which killed over 250 people, about the forced evictions of Palestinians from their homes in the occupied West Bank, of the destruction of Bedouin villages in the Nakab, where Israeli police fired rubber-coated steel bullets at the protesters, of the attacks on Palestinians by illegal Israeli settlers, of the destruction of olive groves. And we've also spoken about the 2 reports by respected human rights organisations which named Israel as an apartheid state. And yet, our right to carry out such peaceful protests, to inform those who are willing to listen, is under threat should this proposed legislation be passed. The government's own briefing paper that accompanies the bill states that protests are an important part of our vibrant and tolerant democracy. Under human rights law, we all have the right to gather and express our views. But despite such fine words, the provisions of this bill broaden the range of circumstances in which police can impose conditions on protests, including single-person protests. And as Alison says, that will include where noise may cause serious disruption to the running of an organisation in the vicinity, and serious unease, alarm or distress to bystanders where the impact may be significant. And the police will be able to impose such conditions as appear necessary to prevent the disorder or impact, which could, of course, include stopping the protest. So, for example, they will be able to stop protests outside companies complicit in the occupation of Palestine and protests outside arms fairs. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm happy to disrupt an arms fair.
Yes!
Equally worrying, and this sounds like a technical point, but it really isn't, the Home Secretary will have the power through secondary legislation to define and give examples of serious disruption. And the key thing about this is that in the vast majority of cases, secondary legislation is not debated or voted on in Parliament. How serious is that provision? In addition, there's a recommendation that the Home Office considers introducing legislation to oblige organisers of public assemblies to give the police written notice in advance of such assemblies, which the police could then prohibit. How can we spontaneously show our feelings on the street if such a provision becomes law? In terms of supporting Palestine, how can we immediately respond to the next deadly Israeli attack on men, women and children in the Gaza Strip? And there is no doubt that there will be another attack, because with Israel there is always another attack. The registered charity Justice has expressed its deep concerns about the provisions of the bill, which it states risk breaching rights of freedom of expression and assembly. And let's not forget, this could affect all protests and assemblies: political, human and animal rights, environmental, religious, community gatherings, football matches, pride marches and more. So we need to protest and keep on protesting against this bill. And we need to get a commitment from our politicians that if enacted, the next government will revoke the legislation. So as we continue to speak truth to power, I will end with a quote from George Orwell. If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they may not want to hear. Diolch yn fawr, I'm Randall. Thank you very much for listening.